The home sellers we work with have many unique situations. Because of this, we've created 4 different options. The first option is a simple cash offer. The second one is contract for deed or seller finance. The third one is assuming your mortgage. And the fourth one is a combination of all 3. We call it the Goldilocks offer. Option 1 is the cash offer. Who is this for? This could be if you're in the middle of a remodel and you run out of money or have a sudden life change. This could also be if you're moving to your next house very soon and you don't have the time to get your current house ready to be sold for top dollar on the market. Or you might just want the certainty of a cash offer and don't want to take a risk of putting it on the market and having the deal fall through. You also might need the cash to pay for a life-changing event. Also, it could just be for some of the unfortunate things that life throws at us, including divorce, job loss, or inheriting the property from a loved one. The benefits of a cash offer is it is great if you want something simple, quick, and easy. This is best when you need the cash right now. The only limitation to this offer, it is going to be the lowest amount of all 4, because Wyohouses is maintaining the risk of the transaction. How it works? Simple. We pay you cash and you get to pick your closing date. The second option is seller finance. Who is this for? This is for sellers who want to sell their property now while values are high, but don't need all the cash up front. This is also for property owners who don't want to deal with being a landlord anymore, but still like the passive income. The benefits: sell your property for market value, avoid all the closing costs, and create additional income each month. Terms are flexible, quick, and easy. This is also great if you want to avoid capital gains. Let's explain how this works. We sign what is called a contract for deed through the title company. Next, we agree upon the terms. We will pay you interest-only payments each month. An easy example is if we're paying you $240,000 for the property, at 5% interest, that would be paying you $1,000 per month. We also will be paying the taxes and insurance for you as well. So this $1,000 will be pure profit for you each month. Still have a loan on your property? That's okay, because you will still get to keep the difference in your mortgage payment and what we're paying you each month. Lastly, we will make what is called a balloon payment. This is simply one big payment at the very end. The duration is flexible, whether it be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you name it. Limitations? While you may not get all the money up front, this is actually a benefit because you will make interest on this amount. Let's dive a little bit deeper into how contract for deed works. In the state of Wyoming, this is actually a very favorable contract for the person who owns the property and is offering the contract for deed. The reason is, on a typical mortgage, or if you're the bank and you try to foreclose on somebody, it's a very involved process to actually get somebody out of the house. Well, in contract for deed, if you don't follow the terms of the contract, the person who has the contract for deed or has the contract that wants to buy the house, if they don't fulfill the terms, it's very simple, typically within like 30 days, if they haven't made their payment, or they don't make their balloon payment at the end, like they lose the house. They lose all the equity they put in, they lose any improvements, whatever they put, maybe sweat equity, all the different stuff, they're out all that if they don't fulfill the contract. So it's very favorable for the seller because somebody's gonna come in, they're gonna invest their money, they're gonna invest their time, and they could lose it all if they just miss a payment. So you're very well protected that they're not gonna miss a payment. So in our situation, a big driver for us is to not put a big down payment into our contract for deed. So the reason is, if you asked us, for example, hey, we want you to put 20% down, I would say, hey, that's not gonna work for us because if we're gonna put 20% down, we're just gonna go to a local bank and get a really good interest rate and not go that route. And if we go that route, you're not gonna get all the tax benefits. And I'm not gonna dive into tax benefits. We have another video kind of explaining how capital gains work and how that could all factor in. But long story short, if we get a bank loan and just give you the full purchase price, you're not gonna get all the tax benefits. So we wanna put little money down and we wanna make payments to you over time. So some people might be like, hey, you don't have any skin in the game or you don't have a whole lot, like what are you gonna lose? Well, we're actually gonna lose a lot because when we complete this contract for deed and take over the property, we're gonna be making improvements, we're gonna be doing updates, and the big thing is we're gonna stabilize it and make it a part of our rental portfolio. So we're gonna use our property management team, we're gonna be like making sure we get good tenants in there that are taking care of it, and so heaven forbid the contract for deed something happens, like you're gonna be taking back your house, which is gonna be an even stronger asset than when you gave it to us. Lastly, let's explain how the contract for deed is actually filed and executed. So it's a simple It's about like, I don't know, like a 3 or 4 page document. It's gonna be signed and worked through the title company, and it's actually gonna be filed at the county courthouse. So it's gonna be well documented, well secured, and it's not just gonna be a handshake agreement. We're actually gonna be executing this, filing it at the county courthouse, and doing it through a title company. Option number 3 is loan assumption. Who is this for? This is if you have little to no equity, meaning your loan amount is equal to what your house is worth. Or maybe by the time you pay agents and make repairs, you're gonna be breaking even or in jeopardy of losing money. Avoid those headaches and just let us assume your loan and take over your payments. The benefits? We can pay at or near market value, and it's simple, quick, and easy. Since no banks or agents are involved, this type of transaction can be closed in less than 7 days if needed. The limitations are that the loan will often remain in your name and still listed on your credit. But that could be at a benefit because it will continue to show as good credit history of us making payments, which could help boost your credit score. How it works. Logistically, this can be achieved with a simple loan assumption or a contract for deed, which is done through the title company and can be reviewed by your CPA or attorney if needed. As far as closing date, we pick whatever date you want. And after the closing date, we just start making your mortgage payments for you. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the loan assumption and how it actually works. So we get asked this question quite a bit. People are curious, hey, well, who's gonna make the payments? Is it gonna be you or us? Is it gonna be, are we gonna notify the bank? Is it gonna impact my credit? Is it still gonna be on my credit? So the short answer is, it depends on the bank. So some banks will allow a simple loan assumption with some extra paperwork. Some banks will not allow it, and there are workarounds in those situations to where you can continue to make the payments and we can set up a simple contract for deed. And in other situations, you just keep making your payment and then we make a payment to you per the contract for deed. But the main benefit is you don't have to worry about making any future mortgage payments. We take care of that for you. The last option is what we call our Goldilocks offer, as it's the best of both worlds and combines components of each of our first 3 options. Who's this for? This is for people who are concerned about capital gains and worried about what you're going to be paying Uncle Sam when you sell your property. This has become a very common way we've structured multiple purchases in the last couple months, and it's really helped a lot of sellers just like you take advantage of the recent increases in home prices while at the same time limiting your taxes. The benefits? We pay at or near market value for your property. This option is perfect if you don't need all the money right away and you're wanting to minimize your taxes. Also, as you will see from the example, this could put an additional $30,000 in your pocket when it's all said and done. Limitations? While you may not receive all your money up front, this can actually be a benefit. An example we often use to explain how the tax benefits work with seller finance and contract for deed is a house that's being sold for $250,000. Well, let's say this house was purchased 10 years ago for $100,000. Then we're gonna look at the depreciation on the house. Accountants will also often refer to this as basis, but it's really simple. So again, bought the house for $100,000. It's been 10 years of you writing the property off each year. So let's say that amount that you've depreciated is $50,000. Again, just making things easy, round numbers. So $100,000 less $50,000, now you're at $50,000 total. So if you sell the house for $250,000, you're gonna take the difference from $250,000 to $50,000, and that's what you're gonna be taxed on. So the difference is $200,000. So if you sell that house, when it comes time for taxes at the end of the year, you're gonna have to add that $200,000 into your income. So often that's gonna push you up one tax bracket, maybe multiple tax brackets. And that's why this is so important. So here's how we structure it so you avoid being bumped up $200,000 in 1 year. So we're gonna actually spread this payment out over several years. So if you break down that $200,000, we're gonna break it down over like 3 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years. Important though, we're gonna give you a little bit of cash up front. So we often will do it in that same situation. We're gonna give you $50,000 up front as a down payment, and then we're gonna spread out. So again, we're using the example where the house purchase is $250,000. So we're gonna give you $50,000 up front, and then we're gonna still owe you $200,000. So we're gonna break that up, let's say over 5 years. So 5 years divided by 200,000 is gonna be $40,000 a year. So we're gonna pay you $40,000 per year over 5 years plus interest. So you're gonna get paid over time, you're gonna limit your taxes, and you're also gonna make interest on that amount of money, right? Because we're not gonna ask you to loan us money and not give you an interest rate. So it's a win-win. You're gonna limit taxes, you're gonna make additional income, and you're gonna sell your house for market value.